I wonder what it's like to be a film director.
You get the thing.
Yeah, but to to always have to be the guy
On top of
who's
everything.
like, that was a bad take.
Apparently you have to be a dick, yeah. You have to be hard.
Do you feel like you have you ever think about the logic behind having to be that kind of a person?
All the time.
Situations?
I think about it all the time. Like why certain people have to be the way that they are. Like, do you have to be a horrible person in order to be a business partner? You know, like stuff like that. I've thought about that all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The world that we live in. Yeah, but I don't know. It's good to see people thriving in a positive light and not being assholes. You know, caring about the community and actually just like uplifting people and not expecting anything in return. I'm seeing a rise in that right now.
Yeah. Especially in terms of the kinds of projects that people are engaging in, as far as like art. You find people getting together to distribute like either relief, but not just how governments do it. Like, governments go give people stuff, or they send people to queue at like the chief's office, but now people are distributing things like in such innovative ways, things that people actually need, like information.
That's true.
I feel like one of the sources of poverty and just is lack of information on how to get from point A to point B. So,
on your own or without certain resources.
Yeah. So it's just dope to see the rise in that kind of information being passed in such common ways, but like in places you didn't expect. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've been seeing celebrities literally just like giving out money, not because it's like I need to do this charity. It's just like, yo, my homie needed this much, so I started to make it a thing. And now if you need something, just like holla at me. And that's, I mean, this time it's weird times, but it's like there's good stuff coming out of it.
For me, it's dope because also you're getting to see quote unquote celebrities or famous people who we only see either their music or their movies or the shows they produce, or even athletes, dancers. We only see them when they're playing the game. But now, because everyone is at home and you're getting to see guys like do lives, guys do stuff from home, and
you're seeing them as humans.
Yeah, as humans, exactly. You guys can finally
like
see.
the veil has been dropped.
Yeah.
It's dope.
Do you think it's uncomfortable?
No, because like right now no one's expecting perfection, and like people are aware of that, so like there's a lot less judgment as well. Maybe it's unusual because we're not used to being this exposed, but do you mean like personally is it uncomfortable?
No, just like, I mean,
Or
yeah,
watching
even
it?
for you, would it be uncomfortable? But I mean, it depends on what kind of discomfort we're talking about, like, or what that means to you, that status, or that inaccessibility, where people don't really know who you are behind your work and your
like at any
projects.
time, not even now during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I've never really called myself a celebrity, so when I end up in those situations it's very awkward, and I'm like just a human being, and I hide. So yeah, it has been uncomfortable for me, but just every day trying to just do normal things and be normal.
Yeah.
Trying to find the balance, because people don't expect normal things from you.
Maybe you got to spaces where many people would know you or through your work because of just being normal. I don't think
That's interesting.
You've ever not been normal, especially in the eyes of the public. And that's interesting because now those kinds of brands, ideas, businesses, projects are thriving because they're already built on everyday stuff and everyday situations. So
And people connect with things that they can
yeah,
see are real and relatable.
yeah,
And that's another reason it's thriving right now. But yeah, but on the last point where you said that you think that I've always been like kind of normal and like this, no, there was a time when I got a bit carried away. And I had to kind of bring myself back and be like, that's not real life. And yeah, it was a trip. I think it can happen very easily when you're like thrust in the public eye.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Do you feel it? Cause you know, like you're like you're like underground famous. Do you feel anything like that?
I mean, generally, as a person, just being known by more than 100 people who you don't see and feel and touch, which is essentially what all manner
Social
of
media.
media is. You know, people are at a distance, but they see you and you don't see them. Obviously, there's a way in which that's sometimes like it's unsettling, but I love sharing
Yeah.
like the the dope ideas and the dope things I'm doing. It's dope.
Yeah.
It's been a journey. I've had to the people who have like natural confidence and the people who acquire confidence and the people who fake confidence until it becomes acquired.
Fake it till you
So
make it.
yeah,
Yeah. That one's
so
hard.
it is, it is. But it's. I mean, you eventually you learn that it's still a principle of nature. It's this person deep down. It's belief. It's some form of belief if you think about it. That's just me. I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, people
What
who are
confidence?
quote unquote fake
Fake
it
it
till
till
they
they
make
make it.
it.
Yeah.
It's because they believe in something so badly.
Then eventually it becomes
It'll
true.
become true, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I see that.
the power of the mind.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just for me. It's a balance. On some days, I'm just like, I don't wanna. But because most of our work revolves around media and stuff,
It's kind of
uh,
like performing.
yeah, lately I'm learning to separate to where you, but while still being the authentic version of whatever is being presented, you know. So I guess it's separating whatever you're presenting with how you or where you're presenting it. And the
Hmm.
thing that keeps you doing it is the why. So
Yeah.
that's in the
Yeah.
middle. Yeah, and it's 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 all about that, and you have to have people around you who can, people who big you up. You know, people who are like,
Yeah.
that's something I've been thinking about
But
lately.
not yes men.
Not yes man, people who big you
Yeah.
up like, bro, that was dope.
Yeah.
Um, but they also tell you when, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
bro,
yeah.
this
Like
is,
maybe you
you
shouldn't
know,
have said that,
maybe yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that.
There
Yeah.
are also people who teach you stuff without necessarily reprimanding you, but just by, some people have a powerful presence.
Yeah, just by
They
being
can
right,
transform
or even
you.
just by doing, and then
Yeah,
you
because
yeah.
um, someone that comes to mind is New Funk.
Shout out to New Funk.
Yeah, I know he's a mutual friend, and he's one of the people I observed. He's so gifted, and he's so chilled with himself and just at peace with himself, and
Yeah,
he understands exactly what he's doing. Like the way he packages things is so unique.
it's very him. Yeah.
It's very him. So
Mm.
he comes off as someone who he oozes that. You know, he doesn't have to really try too hard.
Yeah, I get
So
that.
yeah,
So that inspires you.
yeah, that inspires me.
Dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's always happy. Um,
Always excited about what he's doing.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's important because sometimes it can become your job and then you're not really that excited about it anymore.
yeah.
Does that ever happen to you? I'm gonna be interviewing you today, but that's
We're
what
just talking.
podcasts are, right?
We're
It's
just
like it's just
talking.
a back and forth.
So
Yeah.
when we've done like 5 episodes, and I've spent these episodes. I'm noticing a trend now. The first 20 minutes I spend um, kind of like trying to get a grip of just why we wanted, and shout out to Polycarp who's not here, why we wanted to have someone or why we wanted to be here. And then so that's what I'm trying to do, and at the same time I'm trying to forget that it's something that will be watched and it's something that people will listen to.
Yeah.
So the first 20 minutes, even now,
That's what's
sometimes
happening.
that's what's happening.
Yeah.
You're trying to get a grip of why you're there, but
Mhm.
you're also trying to forget that it's something that people will
That
watch.
it's even being
Yeah,
recorded.
so that it's just a conversation.
Can I put this here, guys? Does this still work?
Yeah, I get.
Yeah, but this is why I prefer podcasts to like interviews, because like,
There's that room.
yeah, no, it's a back and forth, and it's not really like it's all about me and I can't ask questions. Like, there's something Billie Eilish said, and she was like, interviews are like training an artist to just only talk about themselves and never ask questions. So like, you do this so much that even when you get off camera and you're having a normal conversation with like another human being, you've trained yourself to only respond to questions and not even ask questions. That like conversations can become a bit one-sided.
Yeah.
And when she said that, I was like, oh my God, thanks for articulating. That's
Yeah.
why I always have to take like breaks from interviews, because I realized it makes me really awkward in social situations. And I'm already awkward. So it's like, I prefer this setting. This is like a lot more natural. Banta.
That it's crazy because when you watch people when they're doing interviews and then you go to podcasts, there's more education on the podcast and there's more PR and just I don't know. It's like interviews, a label or you as an artist or as a person working, needing to get a certain brand product out there, you have to reach out to media to put it out. So there's a schedule and
And the
remember
intention, you're promoting something.
yeah, but remember like
Yeah.
sometimes you're tired or
Yeah, but you just had to show up at that time because it was
Yeah.
scheduled.
So I guess
Yeah.
it feels like that. And with podcasts, it's first of all, you wouldn't be here if you didn't want to be here.
That's true.
Yeah,
there's no ulterior motive. There's nothing.
Yeah. So
After this, there's nothing except for like dope people listening.
Exactly. Watching.
Oh, watch.
Watching and
Yeah.
listening. Sights and sonics. Good. Yeah. So this is Karun.
Yeah. Can I ask you about you and Polycarp?
Yeah.
Through the
He couldn't
episodes
make it
that you
today.
guys, yeah. So from the episodes that you guys have done so far, do you feel like you two have like a specific role when it comes to like?
Yeah. I noticed that the last two shoots, and we're friends and we're also working together. So the podcast is just seeing, this is learning that this is my role here. So that's a different dynamic. When I'm with him, we have the topic, or we just have the train of thought, different trains of thought that we want to explore. And then when we are with someone who...
Do you guys make notes or do you just let it happen?
Yeah, we make notes. We make notes. We make notes differently. I mean, we have a collective notepad, and then now everyone has, say
Their
if
input.
it's if you're trying to talk about something specific, do your own research, and it's about him bringing his perspective, his knowledge. Yeah. So, but then when it's someone else, now it's the initial thing I was talking about, where you spend the first, half just trying to breathe. And yeah, as I was saying, podcasts are more educational, which points back to the first thing we talked about. There's an uprise in actual education. You get to realize
Happening
that
right now.
artists and different people in the media are geniuses. They know so much. Like, I've been seeing so many artists do stuff that is really smart in terms of how it's actually contributing to the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow.
I mean, I like rain.
I love it. Yeah, you were saying?
Oh, and the pool looks so dope too.
It's dazzling.
I might not even go home after this.
Jump in the
Just
pool.
cause look. But this is also how my house is wildlife. Like, I just don't appreciate it all the time. You too.
What are some of the DIYs that you're currently up to at home? Some of the things you're doing in the compound.
I've been doing a lot of crafting. So like, it's gonna sound so lame, but I've been doing macrame. Just like wall hangings, and it's almost like knitting, but with string that's
Yeah.
kind of thick. Like the wall hanging I gave you with the
Yeah.
feathers. What else have
so-
I done? I feel like I spent a lot of time doing that because I made a giant dream catcher, but it wasn't the usual dream catcher net. I did okay, I can't explain it, but I did like spiral things coming out from a circle. It spirals out into the bigger circle. So that was gonna be my dream catcher because I was having some really intense dreams, and then I was like, let me make myself a dream catcher.
Yeah, we're talking about dreams earlier.
Yeah.
And do you write dreams? Do you write them?
No, I used to. I went through a period where I wouldn't remember my dreams, so I kind of stopped.
Yeah,
but
I also don't remember mine lately. I don't know what's happening.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Dreams
sure
are
there's many reasons
dreams are
that you
it's
can find.
really interesting because when I was a kid, I never read too much into it, and then lately, like dreams, I connect with dreams. Like I can figure things out when I get a dream.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just subconsciously. You know, I don't have to be so conscious about it.
To do with like your real life or just
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that you
yeah,
needed to
yeah,
figure out.
Yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, what do you think about generational trauma? I know that's heavy.
It is heavy, but it's also so vast. Like, how do we
Yeah.
even start?
Start simple, like, cause you're a mom,
Yeah,
so you and Prince,
me and Prince.
just or generational transfer of,
Yeah,
cause like how you spend your childhood, it's the blueprint.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I was talking to my friend about that. Like, how I think I have social anxiety and I have generalized anxiety. Like, I was actually, what's the word? Like, I went to a shrink and they told me that I was actually diagnosed with general anxiety, and I was like, at that time I didn't really think about where it came from. But like, the more now that everybody's stuck at home, I'm
Yeah.
stuck at home with my parents as well, and so I noticed that my mom, she doesn't have anxiety, but she can be really fast paced and pressure, and that causes me to get anxiety. And I was like, oh damn, that's where it came from. And then I started noticing that also my dad has anxiety, my grandma has anxiety, so it's like this didn't come out of nowhere.
yeah,
And so now I'm raising a son, man. Like, it's so heavy because it's like, how can I stop, like, I don't want to pass it on to him.
Yeah.
But like, something I'm doing subconsciously might also be
yeah,
passing
'cause
it on
kids
to
pick
him.
up so much.
So much.
They're
And also so much is happening. You can't always
amazing,
be
yeah,
conscious
yeah,
about what's happening.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, but I think our generation is so much more aware of how they're affecting their
now,
kids. Yeah.
You know, everything that's happening everyone is shook. You know, especially our parents, because they're concerned for us, the next generation. You know, so
yeah.
and they never really most of them lived within like the system of how things functioned for so long before this is a complete shift where my landlady she's a lecturer at one university in Nairobi, and she's a psychology lecturer. She's one of the biggest psychology lecturers in the country.
Oh wow.
And she's
That's
an
it.
elderly lady. You know, we live on a farm.
Yeah.
She's like a shags lady who's just well educated.
Yeah.
So she's now doing Zoom calls and
Learning technology.
yeah,
and all that.
teaching online, doing meetings online.
Yeah.
It's-
It's dope to
it's
see how that
interesting,
generation
it's
is
dope,
caught up to
'cause
this
she's like,
technology. Yeah.
it's nice to see like your grandma on a screen if you have that chance,
Yeah. It kind of feels like the gap has been closed.
Exactly.
Kind of. Now they get it.
Yeah, so now you can identify the ways in which they're vulnerable the older generation. You can see like, and not just them. I think there's a very anxious way of life that has been bubbling under. So
Mm.
even if someone didn't recognize they were anxious, now everything is laid out bare, and as you said,
And you can examine
we're at
it.
home, yeah.
Yeah.
So the tension that was brimming under, but you were distracted, you're busy, either going to work, doing this, da 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 da. Now you don't have those distractions, and
You
then
have to
it's coming
look
to
at
the
it.
surface. And then there's another person who probably, while you were doing that, was experiencing anxiety or being vocal or just talking about it, and it didn't make sense to you at the time.
Yeah.
And now it does, so
I get
you
that.
see a more vulnerable side of. It's crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah. I've been thinking about that a lot as well, like how you can learn something and it doesn't mean that it's obvious to somebody else, like everything in your own time. And that also makes me think about why do we so harshly like judge things from like right and wrong, and you should have known this and you should have known that, when everybody's growing.
Yeah.
And this is, yeah, I don't know.
It's
But sometimes it's internal, like
yeah,
that battle is internal, not really external.
it's dope. Now I can, when you start getting tools to just awareness and being aware of these things, the older you get, the more you understand things more clearly, and you can smell something that isn't like
You can smell the BS.
the bullshit from a mile away.
Yeah.
Same thing with your body. If you invest in your body and just generally, it just gets more intelligent in time. These are things I've been seeing and finding it interesting.
That's dope.
And the more we grow, it's just the more we just wanna, I don't know how to put it, but
The more I grow, the more I just want to be.
exactly.
I want to be able to just be and not be like me being here right now is wrong. Like I should be somewhere else, or I should be doing something else. Yeah. Like the more time I spend alone, the more I'm okay just being and creating at my own pace. But then when I enter the arena with other people,
Yeah,
that's what social media is. Comparison.
it's the arena. That's what I was saying earlier, that I'm learning that balance between this is what I have to do, but also just developing a tougher skin, the more,
Yeah.
because you become more present and you're able to be,
Yeah.
and so now you're numb to so much more stuff.
Do you think that our generation is okay? Not our generation, but do you think people used to be tougher than we are? You know what I mean? Like back before we had all these luxuries, like shoes.
Yeah, definitely. Guys were tougher.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys were tougher. It's just it depends on your environment. Because if you're in a forest, you're physically tough, mentally tough, spiritually in tune. If you're in a city, you're psychologically, emotionally tough. Yeah. So
True.
it's relative.
That's interesting. When you started making Jaba juice, did you think you would stick to it this long?
Yeah.
Because I remember it was like a. When's the first time you did it? Like a Kilifi or something?
No. At the Alchemist.
Yeah, the very first time.
Yeah. Yeah. In my gut, I knew. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
The doubts I had, now when I look back, I realize that was all in my head. But the real me always knew,
Yeah, like when other people started popping up trying to do the same thing.
And there are people who did it. Apparently, there's someone who had done Jaba juice before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's even a producer.
They called it Jaba juice.
Yeah, music producer called Hiran. He
Oh,
has
dope.
Jaba juice, but it's just a different experience. Which brings me to an interesting thought, that being an entrepreneur and having a products that, you know, it's something natural, something unique. When I started, I had an idea, but I didn't have the exact experience to give me the confidence to believe in it as a lasting thing, and then as something that can stand the test of competition, basically. So now I'm just learning that if you truly know who you are and where you're going and what you're doing.
Yeah. But even in business terms, you had the why you were doing it was very different from everybody else's why. And that's what makes you stand out.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. It was really hard at the time because that's when everyone else was playing safe. Most people were playing safe. And I didn't have a choice, to be honest. But I also chose it.
What do you mean?
Like, for me, there's no other way I ever saw myself going
about
other
the
than this direction of doing business with a Y, doing music with a Y, and doing everything with a Y. Even I have such like passion and romance for life.
Well put.
I have so much passion and romance for so many things in life, and they all feed different aspects of me. So I never saw myself being any other way, but I felt lonely and felt very tested when I had to deal with, you know, setbacks, losses. Like even opening the juice bar, there were so many small things that were happening. You saw it. You know? I didn't.
But you learned a lot too.
I learned so much. I've learned so much.
Also about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the last 5 years. Yeah. And this thing started off as me coming to your house, cooking.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
My cooking was.
And then we had that one event in my backyard.
That was lit. With your parents' friends.
Yeah.
No. Okay, we're talking about two different things.
What?
We're talking about the
event with my parents' friends.
And then the one with your parents' friends, that's when I like really cooked because I made chickpeas and stuff.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. That was dope.
And see, at the time I was going around doing stuff like that. I didn't have a physical location.
Set up. Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't really defined business because I was still a passionate guy. So I was trying to, first of all, define what I'm doing and create a community. So because of the community I reach out to, I just know whatever product I come up with, it's not competing with anything else because it's authentic to the community that I'm interacting with.
It's directly from you to them.
Yeah.
Not like a corporation or a store that they go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really think that's something that's gonna start being more prevalent in our generation, where everything we're doing is niche. You know, Nipsey used to say. I've been watching a lot of Nipsey interviews. When I feel like because during this quarantine, I have times where I'm being productive and doing all this, but I also get drained, and the moments where I'm losing myself, I find myself watching his interviews, and he's very grounding presence, like very speaks, and it's like life and it's hopeful. And he said one of his early interviews, he was like, everyone has a niche. So something that's been happening before this COVID is there was like a high level of individuals who wanna do things but like don't realize that if they don't do things only as individuals, and see that a lot of people around them are actually in the same situation and they could learn from them,
Yeah.
then it would be more empowering.
Yeah.
But
I
like
feel that.
one of the silver linings of this time is now people appreciate people and having a sense of community and having your own identity. Like we're not competing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
But something
should
I've been
know
finding
myself.
challenging about that is like right now all our community is online,
Yeah.
and so I feel like it's still kind of hard to find that safe space
Yeah.
through the technology that we have. But I mean, it's becoming easier, like with private group chats and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Private group chats rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd say to what's been something grounding for you whenever you feel like how is everything hard on you as a person, as a mom, and like in those moments, what are some of the things what are your pick you ups?
I think journaling, because I always want to create, and sometimes the avenue that I want to create with isn't just not the best fit at that time, and that can also frustrate me even more. So instead of turning to creativity, which feeds my soul, but like right now in my current setup, it's not always like I can't always make music. I live in a house full of like 5 people. I can't always paint or draw. Maybe I don't have the paint, so I'm not that inspired in that way. So I'll just like journal, put down all my thoughts, or just like let it all out, and then it doesn't feel like it's weighing me down anymore. And I can move on, or like serve somebody else.
Yeah. I think for me it's a mix of good practices and sometimes also just going with the flow. Just
That too.
Just allow, if you're tired, I just want to be tired, know, and binge, and then restart.
I admire people like you, man. There's like people on different ends of the spectrum when it comes to people who inspire me. It's like there's the super creative people who like have a schedule every day they do this. You know what I mean? Like they make songs every single day, or they do whatever it is their craft is every single day. They wake up at like 6 or 5 or 3 a.m. in the morning. Okay, even you wake up super early, but there's those things that people say habits of successful people.
Yeah.
So that's also inspiring. But then there's also on the other end of the spectrum, there's people who allow their life to just flow and still end up being super productive.
Yeah.
So it's like,
trust me,
just being yourself, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And it takes people who understand you to be around you. And sometimes they won't even understand. Even you won't understand. But eventually, it's a gut feeling, man. Nothing beats a gut feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. My gut has been stronger these days.
Yeah.
But it hasn't always been a good thing. It's like, shit. I know that right now what I'm being told is bull.
Yeah.
And I don't really know if it's... Like, I don't know what to do about that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm glad, though. I can't take that for granted. At all.
Well, yeah. It's been great to just do this. And I feel like some of the conversations we've had behind the scenes have been more detailed, and like there's a way we've talked about things and like connected that is so vast, but even just doing this together feels like an extension of that. So
we spoke for like 2 hours before this podcast started.
Yeah. Equipment.
I almost don't know when exactly this started.
Yeah. It's dope. Alright.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Or wherever you stream this, whenever, whatever. Stay safe. Yeah.